Hello everyone and welcome to my new video on this channel, Free Code School, where I aim to teach Python programming to everyone for free. So this is the part 10 of this Python tutorial series, basic Python tutorial series. So before this, I have already created 10 more videos because the numbering starts from 0. So if you have not watched those videos like the other parts, do watch it because let's say if you are even from a non-IT background or even if you are from the IT background, and you want to learn basic of Python programming, I am sure that my video that I've created before this all will be very helpful. Now, of course, this video also, including the other videos also, will be very helpful in teaching you basic of Python programming. Also, in this part, I will cover functions in Python. Like this is also a very important concept in Python. And this will be a kind of last part where I will teach you basic syntax of Python. From the next part onwards, I will be basically showing you like how to write programs actually. So at least once you are here at part 10, till now, if you have watched my previous videos, you will be very confident with like the syntax of Python, like how to use different features in Python, like how to declare variables, how to define variables, how to use list, how to use for loop, how to use while, how to take input from user, and of course in this video how to use function in Python. After this, you should be able to write simple programs in Python. So of course, the link to the playlist will be there in the description and the comment. So do go and watch the other videos also if you have not watched those. And of course, do subscribe to my channel because I will be covering a lot of Python stuff there on my channel. So do subscribe to my channel, and it will also motivate me a lot. I mean, if you do press the subscribe button and do like my video, it will motivate me a lot. Now, of course, I have a Telegram channel called Free Code School. It's just for like discussion Python related discussion. Like if you have any doubts, you can ask there. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Like I have the IDs here. And of course, I will paste all the links in the description, so you can go to the description and find all the relevant links. So let me do one thing. Let me set up the, basically I do all the hands-on practice on repl.it, this website. So what I will do is start coding. So I will select Python here, create repl. So initially I will just adjust some settings here. So if you are already continuing from like my previous videos, you can just skip this part anyway. So for me, I will just start content size 4, code. Actually, you should enable the code intelligence, but for me, I will just disable it. I mean, for now. Let's start with what are functions in Python. Okay. So basically, see, function. I will first tell you like how to write functions in Python. Then I will explain you. So this is a very so I will tell you first. Let me write the code because then I will be able to explain you. Greet user. Okay. Sorry, print hello. Let me run this program. I will show you what is actually happening. I'm sure you will be seeing this for the first time if you are watching my playlist. This will print hello. So what actually happened? Okay. So let me explain that on with the help of pen and paper. And so let me show you here like what actually happened here. So let me just write the code and then I will explain you like how a function is defined in Python. Okay. So let me show you like I have written the same program here, just copying pasting here. So let me tell you what is function. Okay. So this is basically when you want to define a function. Okay. So similar. So when you are defining a list, right? How do you define a list? Like you do something like this, like numbers equal to 1, 2, 3, right? This is called defining a list. Okay. So how do you define? Sorry. Okay. There is my video there, so you have not have seen this. So basically, it should be like when you're defining a list, it will be numbers equal to 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, if you have to basically define a function, you can do something like this. You have to use this keyword called def. Okay, this is syntax of writing function. Okay. Then you have to provide a function name. This function name can be anything. It depends on you. Like you can, I have named it greet user. You can write define hello also. Anything you can write. It's okay. Then there should be this round brackets there, right? Opening and closing. Okay. And inside this, again, indentation should be there, like whatever indentation you are using. Here I'm using 4 spaces, and then you can write some code here. Okay. So this is like defining the function. So this is called a definition of function. Okay, definition of function. Okay. Now, how to call this function? Like, how will you execute this function? For that, you just have to and do something like this. Whatever function name is there, write it here, and then the opening and closing this brackets, right? The round brackets, right? Now, in this way, basically, you will be able to call this. So what will actually happen is, so nothing happens to this code. Your Python program, the control will go to this line. It will see that, okay, greet user function is being called. So this will call this function here. The control will go to this function basically when this is executed. So typically, normally we think that, okay, what actually, typically we think in our programming that, okay, this is basically line number one. Let me just clear some stuff there. Okay. Typically, let's say, okay, let's say this is line number one, this is line number two, this is line number three. Now, whenever you have functions, functions do not get called automatically. You have to call them, okay, using this basically. This is called calling a function. Provide the function name and the input, sorry, this round brackets, and it will call the function. So when you do this, it will be, the control will go to line one, okay, it will see the function definition, and then the control will go to line two, and it will do print hello, okay. Understand this. Okay, this function by default will not get executed, I mean by Python. You have to call this at line 3 or anywhere in the program, then only this will get executed. So let me again move back to this screen. So what actually happened in this was the Python, the first the control will go to line number 3, and then it is calling a function called greet user. So now it will call this function, the control will go to line number 1, and it will print hello. That's what you say in this one. Now, if you ignore this line, okay, so if you remove this line, okay, great user, let's remove this line and run the program. What? Nothing happened, nothing got printed. Why? I told you, you have to call this function. Defining a function is not enough. If you define a function and do not call it, nothing will happen. I mean, nothing is going to happen. I mean, that's why you need to call this function by using the function name. Whatever is the name of this function, okay? So you see the name of the function is greet user. So I have called using greet user. Now, of course, you will see hello, okay? So this is how to define a function. So this is called this part is called the line 1 to 2 is called the definition of the function. And the line third is basically how to call a function. Okay. Now why to use functions? Okay. The same thing I could have done something. Same thing. I would have done something like this. I mean, remove this. I could have just done print hello. Right? It should have, and if I do also this, I get hello, right? Why to write functions, right? This will be a question, right? So let me tell you like why we use function in programming. Of course, the first reason is reusability. Okay, so you can use, see, in functions you can define some code here. You can write like 100 lines of code in a function, more than that also if you want to, right? Now, what take example like if you have to find greater of two numbers. So let me write a function. I will explain later on words like how this function is working. But let's say I have to find greater of two numbers. Okay, so one program is quite simple. What I will do is let's say x equal to 1 and y equal to 2. Now, basically, if uh, let's say x greater than y, we will say that then x is greater. Okay. Otherwise, else I will do that print y is greater. So we have to find the greater of two numbers x and y. Okay, so in this case, we run this program, y is greater because y is equal to 2. Okay, now think about this. If you have to find the greater of two numbers, a lot of times in the code, it's not one time. Let's say if you are at this stage and you did this, okay. Now you have written some more lines of code, okay. You have written some more lines of code, let's say, okay. At some stage again you have to find greater of two numbers. Will you write again, repeat this code again at that moment? Will you repeat this logic again at that moment? Of course you can do. It's not a problem. You can again do the same thing. It will work fine. But the issue is that you are repeating a lot of code. You are repeating the same thing again somewhere else again, right? Let's say after this, the number changes, let's say, okay? So now let's say if you want to find greater of two other numbers, let's say x equal to, so a equal to 3 and b equal to 1. So again, you can write the same code again here, copy paste this. Of course, variable has changed. So you will do like a, we will write, again run the program. Of course, you will run fine. In the first case, like y is greater. In the second case, a is greater. Okay, it's fine. But you are repeating this code again and again, right? So how to basically reuse the code? What if we can reuse this code again and again? This if x greater than y, this code from line 3 to 6. What if we can reuse this code again and again? That's what function is helpful for. So let me write a code using function. Okay, what I will do is define. I will say greater. Just I write any function name. It's okay. I will take two input. Okay, I will explain this later, like how to take inputs in function. But just understand, like I am telling you, like why to use functions. I will I will do if x greater than y, print uh, x is greater. Okay, don't get confused if you are not able to understand how I am passing x and y. I will explain you in some time. You not get worried about that. Else, I'm just telling you like how functions are very useful. I could have taken other examples also, but fine. This is okay. Now I want to, let's say, first find greater of two numbers like 2 and 3. Then I want to find greater of 4 and 1. Okay, see what is out. So in first case, y is greater, okay, and in the second case, x is greater. So what is actually happening is actually this is x here that gets passed to. So basically, I will explain sometime, but this is basically I'm passing some values to this function. Okay, this 2 is basically the x, okay, and this 3 is basically the y. Okay, this gets passed when I call this function at line number 7. So of course, you know, x is 2 and y is 3. Which one is greater? 3 is greater. That means y is greater. Y is greater got printed. Again, I can call this function to find greater of two more numbers. Let's say x is 4 this time and y is 1. Of course, x is greater here. So see, I do not need to repeat this code again and again, right? I can again find greater of, again I can find greater of maybe 6, 0. Okay, I can find this also. In this case, of course, x is greater again. So you can keep on calling this function and finding the greater of two numbers, right? How helpful it is, right? Otherwise, you have to write this if and else again and again when you want to find the greater of two numbers. So that's why basically we are reusing this code again and again, and we are trying to avoid repetitive code here. That's what the main aim of using functions. And also, users need not to know how function is working. So user just need to provide this, they need to call this, and they will get the answer. You do not need to understand what's happening inside. Okay, that's also use of function, right? You can define one function and let the users just provide the input to the function and get the output, right? That's quite useful in programming. So that's the third advantage. Now we have two types of functions: user-defined functions and built-in functions. So what are so this is the example of user-defined functions, because I, as the user, I have defined this function in my program. Okay, that's why it's user-defined. But there are some built-in functions which is already there in Python. Like Python, like the programmers who created Python, basically, they have already written the code for those functions. That's already there. Example would be print, length. We have been using this function, right? Sort. These are all built-in functions, which is already there in Python. So function is nothing. You have function name, okay? You provide some input to the function, and that function will give you an output. In case of print, you are passing some variable name or something to the whatever to the print function, and it will print that to the your screen, right? Similarly to len length function, when you pass a list, it will tell you the length of the list. When you pass a string, it will tell you the length of the string, right? So that's what is quite useful, right? You do not need to understand like how the function is working. You just need to give input, get output. That's how useful function is. Now, okay, now let's come to this part, like how to pass information to function. I have already given this example, but I will explain you now, okay? Uh, Let me write this program here. Fine, new program. So then copy maybe that, okay, no issues. Print, we will add string, hello, name. Okay, read, media. Okay, let me run this program. Hello, Shivam. So what I did in this program is basically I am passing a input to the function. This you can do. Okay, let me show you here. So basically, see, in greet user, here you have this opening and this round brackets, right? Here you can also pass some input if you want. Let me remove this code. Now see this program. So I have written, sorry, I have written this definition greet user. Okay. I am taking the, so you can take inputs inside this round brackets, whatever input you want to use in this function, you can take one input, you can take two inputs, you can take an input, whatever input you want to. I am taking only one input as name here. Okay, and also this colon is necessary. Remember this, right? In function, you have to provide this colon. Okay? Then I am just doing print. I'm using f string hello, and of course name. Okay, and I am calling this function using greet user Shiva. Okay, so basically, if you want, so this is the name. Okay, basically, this functions can also take input. They can take multiple inputs, and I will show you like how to take multiple input after some time. But I am providing only one input, and of course, when you are calling this function, you need to provide the input also. In this case, I have provided name as Shivam. Okay, you can provide any other name, and of course, you can do more calls if you want to. So this is function. You can call it multiple times. Let's say next with the name Anil. Okay, again you can call with great user another name. Okay, you can do this multiple times function calls. Okay, so what actually happens in this case is, so this will call this function, and this will also pass this Shivam value to the name. So in the name Shivam will get stored in this case. Now when you go to this line, it will do print f hello name. So in the name Shivam is stored now because we have passed this using the function. So it will print hello Shivam. So that's what is done in this case. So what we can do is we can call this function multiple times. This is a possible item. So you need to define the function only once or call it multiple times. That's why functions are there. You define the function only once, call it whenever you want to. Okay. We'll provide different inputs like different times we are calling. The second case we will say Anil, and the third case we will say Navneet. Okay. So let's run this code and see the output. So you see the output in the first case, hello Shivam, then hello Anil, then hello Navneet. So what actually happened? So Python will actually, so see definition I told you, it will not be called on its own. You need to call that, right? If you want to execute this function, you need to call it. So the control will first go to line number 3. It will call greet underscore user, this function with the input Shivam. So it will, the control will go to line number 3, greet user. In the name, this data will be passed, Shivam will be passed. Basically, this is string data that will be passed. And then it will print this like hello Shivam. And then again, once the function is completed, because after line 2, so of course, you see this indentation here, right, of 4 spaces. That means whatever contents of the function are there, it will be indented inside this in the same way. So if you can write multiple lines also if you want to write, right? You can also write print. And something more also you can write if you want. I'm not writing something, but of course you can write multiple lines in a function, okay, if you want to. And then after this print is done, the control will again go to line number. So after this, so control will again go to line number 3, but line number 3 is done. So this is already, this line is already executed. So the control will go to now to line number 4. Again, it will it is again calling the function greet underscore user with different data. Again, the control will go to line number 1. The input in the name will be Anil this time. It will print hello Anil. And again, the control will go to the line after 4. That is line 5 because 4 already got executed, right? So after this, the control will go to line number 5. Greet user Navneet. Again, function will be called. Control will go to line number 1. The name in this case will be Navneet. We will print hello Navneet. And again, after line number 2, control will go to after line number 5. That is line number 6. But nothing is there on line number 6, so the program will end. So that's how you can provide input to the function, and also like how the control goes. This you have to understand in the function. So after the function get executed, all the lines in the function get executed. Your control again goes to the same line from where you have called the function. Okay, remember this. This is very important. Now function parameters and arguments. Okay, so basically what happens actually, this whatever you pass it here like name, you have to define some variable name here. It can be any name, you can define it. I can also, it's not name, I can also name it like anything. You can just and also you can tell, okay, and you can write it and here and here. And I'm just doing some random name, but this will also work. Okay, of course you can name the variable any way you want to. Okay, and this is typically called parameters. Okay, so whatever inputs are there in this greet user, when you define a function basically, right, and you are providing some inputs there, that is called parameters. And when you provide the input by calling a function, so understand this, parameters are related to function definition inputs. So this is the definition of the function, and whatever you provide here are called parameters. Then when you call the function and when you provide this input is called the arguments. Okay. In some cases, you will see that people are using it interchangeably, but for my video and typically you should call this as parameters. What are function parameters? And whatever you are passing, you should call these as arguments. Okay. So basically in our case, n is a parameter. Okay. And whatever we are passing, Shivam is an argument here, Anil is an argument here, Navneet is an argument here. Okay. Now passing arguments to function. Okay. So that's what I have shown you here, how to pass. Okay. A function can have multiple parameters. Okay. In this case, I have only one, but it can have multiple. It can have like X, Y, Z. It can have multiple. Similarly, it can also have multiple arguments. Like here you can provide 3 arguments because you have 3 parameters. So you can provide a maximum of 3 arguments here in this case. Okay. And also like there are 2 ways of passing arguments to functions. Okay. So of course you can provide argument 2 ways. One is called positional arguments. One is called keyword arguments. So let's understand. So much of theory. Let's understand with the example. Let's see this example, a new example we will take. Okay. Greet user. You will also greet with a country name. Okay. Greet a name, country. Okay. We will print hello, name, comma, country. Okay. Okay. We will call again the greet user. So typically, what we should do is we should have a space here. I mean, it's not compulsory, just for clarity we can have greet users. Okay, and then we will just pass Shivam, and let's say I'm from India. So what is actually happening in this case? I told you, you can provide like multiple so these 2 are called parameters, name and country. And whatever I am providing here, Shivam and India, these are arguments. So you provide arguments whenever you are calling a function. When you are defining a function, you use parameters like name and country. To run this code, it will print error. Sorry, it is spelling is wrong. CUNTRY. You can see name country is not defined because the name was wrong here. Okay, because of that. Hello Shivam, comma India. It printed it. Okay. So of course you can see I have 2 parameters here. Name. I am taking 2 inputs, 2 parameters, name and country. And arguments I am passing here, Shivam, India. Because for each parameter, you need to pass one argument. Okay. It's not compulsory as we will see later. But for now, understand that for each parameter, whatever you are defining here, you should also pass an argument. For name, I am passing the argument Shivam. So basically for name parameter, I am passing the argument Shivam. For country parameter, I am passing the argument India. So what will happen is name. So when this function gets called, okay, name to this parameter name, Shivam will be stored in this name when this gets called, and in country, India will be stored. Now the control will go to line number 2 and it will do hello. It will print whatever is stored in name, whatever is stored in country. So it printed hello Shivam India. Okay. This is called positional arguments because you are providing the arguments depending on the position of the parameters. So first position parameter is name. So here in the arguments at the first place, you are providing the name Shivam. The second parameter is country. So at the second position, you are providing like country name India. Now it can be, there can be third also, like anything, like let's say age. I'm just taking example age. Then when you're using positional arguments, you can provide the age also. Let's say 25. Let's say, okay, can do this also. Okay, this will also run same way. But of course, I have not used this age here. Let me also maybe age also. Okay, do this. So now what will get printed is hello Shivam India. My age also gets printed here. Okay. Of course, you can pass multiple and multiple if you want to. But see, this is positional. For this first position is name. I am providing Shivam. Second position is country. I am providing India. For third is age. I am providing 25. Okay. Now, what if we, let's say if you did not pass 25 here. Okay. So you have 3 parameters, name, country, age, but arguments you are passing only 2. What will happen in this case? Now you will think that, okay, name is Shivam, country is India, but what is age? Okay, so should this give an error? Let's run this code. Okay, we got an error. greet user missing one required positional argument. It is because there are three parameters, so it requires three arguments. But you are giving only two, so you have to provide third also. Then only it will run. So understand this. You have to provide equal number of arguments, like whatever the number of parameters is, that number of argument you should provide. Okay. But there are other cases. There are some cases where you should not provide. But I will tell you after some time. Okay. So now, keyword arguments. Okay, this is positional arguments that I have taught you now. Okay, like according to the position of parameters, you are passing the arguments. But there is keyword arguments also. How to pass keyword arguments? Let's remove the age for now. Make it simple. I'm just took the age example to show you, but let's remove that. So another way of passing the same thing is I can use keyword arguments. Something like this: name equal to Shivam, country equal to India. Okay. Let's run this code. Hello Shivam India. This way also I have executed the function right well successfully. So in this case, what I have done is this is called keyword arguments. I am providing the, if you see, I am providing this great user. I'm providing keywords here. I mean, see, this is parameter name. For name here, I can provide name equal to Shivam. I am defining it clearly that the name I should be passing is Shivam. Okay, and the country I will be passing is India. So this is kind of keyword argument, right? You are providing with the help of keyword, right? This name is a keyword. You are providing name equal to Shivam and country equal to India. This will also work fine. But again, in this case also, if you do not, if you leave this blank, if you do not provide this, again, this will give you an error that did you are missing one required positional argument. See, positional argument, it is telling country, okay? Because when we are using this name equal to Shivam, now will you think, now your question will be, can we use a combination of both? Let's try. So here we are using name equal to Shivam, but in the next case, we are just providing India. We are not using like country equal to India. Will this work? Let's see. No, it does not work because positional arguments follows keyword argument. You cannot do this. When you are using the keyword arguments, for every argument you have to use this. Like for here also you have to use this to work. Understand this, okay? Now this can again work. And one more thing is, see, the name should be same. This is the name here. You should write name equal to Shivam. But what if you do ME equal to Shivam? Okay. See, again in this case, again you will get error. Great user got an unexpected keyword NAM because NAM is not a keyword. Only name and country, only these two are keywords. So you should provide only these two input, but you are providing NAM. NAM is not a keyword here, right? So that is wrong. And what if you interchange? What if I write first, I mean, sorry, why to do this much? Just if I interchange this, I write it first here. I remove this. Okay. What if I interchange it? First, I write country equal to India and then name equal to Shivam. Will the program still work? Let's run this code and see. So it's still printing hello Shivam India, right? That means it's working. Even if you interchange this, I mean country equal to, if you write country equal to India first and then name equal to Shivam, then also it works. But in positional argument, it will be different. Okay. If you have positional argument, okay, and if you do this, the meaning will change. Okay. So if you write India first, okay, and then you write Shivam, see what will happen now. In case of positional arguments, hello India Shivam, see what is printed. So what happened? See in this case, see this is positional argument. So to the name, this position, whatever is this at this position will get passed. So to the name, India will get stored in the name. In the country, Shivam will get stored. That's why it will print hello name in name India is stored. So hello India, then in country Shivam is stored. Then Shivam. So hello India Shivam. So the meaning got changed. So that's why take care when you are passing positional arguments, you need to worry about like how the positioning of the arguments. Okay, it should be in the same order like how you want to, like how your parameters are. But in case of keyword arguments, just write it anywhere and it will work. Okay. Next one is default values. Okay, let me just do one thing. So, okay, what I can do sometimes, so default values, let's say, sometimes you do not want to pass country, okay? In some cases, you do not want to pass the country. In some cases, you want to, okay? And in the cases, if you do not pass country, it should be blank, okay? It should be just blank, okay? And how we can achieve this? So there is a concept of default values, sorry, country equal to this. So what we are doing here is we are basically defining this country equal to blank. I mean empty string. That means nothing is stored in country. Okay. And let's say what happens if you do not pass this. Let's say if you just pass Shivam here, you do not pass the country. Okay. In this case, there will be no error, as you will see. It will print hello Shivam, comma, because in country there is nothing, so nothing got printed here. So this way what you can do is basically sometimes you do not want to pass the country. So you can basically tell to Python that whenever I am not providing any country name here, by default you can take this as empty. That's why I have defined it country equal to empty. But in case if you define anything, this will get overwritten. In country, India will be stored in this case if you do this. Hello Shivam India. So you got what happened actually. Whenever you pass when you are not passing the country, that argument, by default, it will be this empty string, nothing basically. But when you are passing some argument here, instead of this empty string, India will get stored in this country in that case. Okay. So that this is called default values. How to pass default values? Of course, you can just define the I mean something here, country equal to something, and that is default. You can of course define India also here. It's okay. If somebody does not pass this India, so if it does not pass the second argument, by default, his country or her country will be India. Okay, that's why if you see hello Shivam India, I have not passed any country, but by default India got printed because by default in country India is stored. For name also you can do the same thing. It's not like you can do only for one. Do for name also. I mean, just empty also, okay? If somebody does not provide any input, okay, this function will work now also. Hello, comma, because there is nothing stored in this name, right? So hello, I mean, nothing here, and then India got printed, okay? So that's how you can use default values. And you can define it for each function parameter if you want to. For each function, you can provide a default value in case the user does not provide a argument for that parameter, then by default this value will be considered. So you can, this is the example. Now this is important. When you use default values, any parameter with a default values needs to be listed after all the parameters that don't have default values. This allows Python to continue interpreting positional arguments correctly. So what if you do something like this? So I will just tell you. So this is actually okay. Let me write this. Okay. So let's see what happens in this case. Okay. So non-default argument follows default argument. That's why I told. So if you have to provide default values, if you have to write like default parameters, if you have to provide that, you can only provide after, like, it should not be like, okay, you have written this. So this is basically example of default parameter, right? After this, you cannot write I mean, so once you have used this default parameter, all the parameters after this should have default values. If it is not, then there will be error. Okay, so that's why this is wrong. So of course you can do something like this. Name this and country equal to India. This will work. But again, if you write age here, let's say, this again will not work. Okay, if you write this and again run this, again non-default arguments follow default argument. This error you will get because once you have defined a default value, you need to follow up with default value itself. All the other parameters on the right hand side of this should have default values. Okay, in this case age does not have a default value, but if I do age equal to 1, it should work fine now. Hello India, it's working fine now. Okay, remember this is very important. Now, there are different ways of calling a function, okay? So, let me just remove the age. I will keep country equal just empty. So, there are multiple ways of using this function that I am going to show you here, okay? So what are the multiple ways? So one way is basically what I can do is define so name and country equal to this. This is one way, okay? And then I can just provide a name here, okay? Shivam, okay? And this is one way. Hello Shivam. Another way will be you can also provide the country name here. Country equal to India. This is second way. But this time hello Shivam India got printed because in first case default value was empty. We didn't provide the value, so nothing got printed. In this case, we are providing India. So India basically what is stored in country and hello Shivam India. What are the other way of printing? This also, let's say we use name equal to Shivam. We are not using this country. This is another way of basically we are using now keyword arguments. Okay, name equal to Shivam. Hello Shivam again got printed. You can again basically do country equal to India. This is another way. I'm just saying there are multiple ways. You can exchange both of these, right? You can. This is positional. You're providing positional arguments. So you can do country equal to India first, name equal to Shivam. That will also work. So you can see like for a single this definition, like function definition, how many multiple ways are there to call this function. It depends on you how you want to use it. Okay. But understand the importance of positional and keyword arguments, and also understand how to pass default values to function. Okay. Now, okay, next let's go on to the next thing that is very important is how to return values from functions. Okay, it's not that every time you need to print this. Okay, sometimes you also will want to return the function, return the value, some value from function. How you can do this? So a function does not always have to display the output. It's not always you need to use print. You can also, I mean, return some output from this function. So it can also return value back to the function call. In this case, return statement is used. So I will show you example. So let's say if you have to multiply two numbers, okay, let's write the function for that. So see how will write the function for multiply. I will write the function I will multiply. I will take two numbers, number 1 and number 2. You can name it anything, A or B, X or Y, anything. Okay, I am just using num1 and num2. And I will do return num1 into num2. Just return. So basically this return function is used to, so if you want to return some value from this function, you can use the return statement. And then after this, what value you want to return. In this case, I want to return the multiplication of number 1 and number 2. And then I can, basically when you are returning some function, so some value from the function, you will also want to store it somewhere. If you do not want to store the output somewhere, why you are returning the value itself? So what we will do is we will store it in a function result equal to multiply 2, 3, and then we will print the result. So 6 got printed. So what actually happened in this case? See, this is simple. Multiply 2, 3. This is a function definition, and we have provided two. We have two. We have two parameters here, num1 and num2. Therefore, we provided two positional arguments, 2 and 3. And in number 1, num1, 2 got stored. In num2, 3 got stored. And of course, this has returned a value called num into num2. So basically multiplication of both of these numbers. So we need to store this value somewhere. That's why this function will return a value, and I'm storing that in this result variable. And then I am printing whatever is stored in result. So of course it will return 6. So I'm storing the answer to this in this result, and I'm printing this. That's my answer 6. And it's not that you need to store always. Let's say you can also do this thing. You can just in one line. We will not store it, we will directly print it. That also you can do. Because this is returning the answer 6, and I will just print it. I will not store it. I will just print it. This will also, if you see the answer is 6 here again, right? So it's the same thing. But if you want to use the value again and again, just store it in a variable. And also it's not compulsory to write this num1 into num2 here. I can also write something like this. Result equal to num1 into num2. Return result. So this will also work, because what we are doing here is we are storing the multiplication of these two numbers in this variable result, and then we are returning whatever value is stored in this result. Of course, in this case, 6 is stored in this and it will get returned. This is how basically you get the output from a function. This is very useful, right? When you want to multiply two numbers, sum two numbers, and anything, divide two numbers, anything. And also, it's not that you should always return, I mean, a integer. It's not compulsory. You can return anything. You can return string. You can return list. You can return dictionary. Anything you can return from here. So let's see this example. I will return here something like this. I will return a string here. So I will use f string, and then what I will do is num1 into num2. Some formatting I am doing equal to num1 into num2. Okay. Now you see what gets printed. So you see what gets printed, 2 into 3 equal to 6. So I have formatted the output, right? So if you see, I will use add strings here. I'm returning a string here. So I just substituted the value of num1 into num2, okay? So this is just getting substituted. This is not getting multiplied, understand this. In this case, I am using this. Here it gets multiplied, num1 into num2, okay? So basically, when you use this braces, right, here this braces, so what happens? So of course, in this case, what happened, when you have braces here, num1 got substituted here into, this is just into here, this is raw into, this is not multiplication operator. After this, num2 also got substituted here. Now when you open the curly braces here, sorry, this braces here and close it here, in this you are doing the operation num1 into num2. So basically the whatever is the answer of num1 into num2 will get substituted here. That's what 6 got substituted here. And when you basically this everything whatever is this string gets returned to this multiply function and it gets printed. Okay. Now of course you can return list also if you want to. You can return dictionary also if you want to. It's okay. You can return anything. Now using a function with while loop. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so what we will do in this case is basically we are going to take input from the user, like we will take input from the user, their first name and last name, and we will print that in a formatted way. Okay, see this how we can do this. We will define a function called def formatted name. Sorry, get formatted name. Okay, just it's no issue. Just formatted name. You can name it anything I want. So first name. So for me, the program will become bigger. I will just call it F name. Okay. And short names I will do L name, so last name. Okay. Uh, then I will do full name equal to. I'm just defining it something like this. Full name is basically app name, L name. I'm storing this in, of course, a string, and then I am returning the formatted name. Return full name dot title. And with this title function, basically what title function will do is this will basically convert the first letter of each of this, like first name and last name, into capital letters. Okay, this function. Then I will use a while loop. While loop. So this loop will keep on running. Okay, this will not stop. Okay. Then first name equal to input first name. So I will ask the user to input first name. Okay, I'll copy this. Last name. I'll ask user for his or her last name. Okay. Then I will store the formatted. Sorry, I will store the. Sorry. Then I will call the function formatted name equal to. Okay. So this is the. Okay, let me just expand this. Equal to. So in this case, I know this line become. This will go to two lines formatted name. This is the function call I am doing. I will pass the arguments also here, app name and L name. Okay. So I Actually, this is same line, right? Line number 8. Both are on line number 8. I do not have any width here, so it got something like this. On line number 10, I will write print have hello. Okay, so what I have done is, okay, let me run this code and show you what it's happening. So so you're asking for, so basically what this is the function I have defined, okay, formatted name. This takes two parameters, first name and last name. And then what we do is we store the full name, like something like this, like a string, like F string I am using, like first name and last name. Then I'm returning this. I am using a return function here to return some value to the function itself. I'm returning full name dot title. Okay, whatever is stored in this name, but I will capitalize the first letter, right, of the first name and first letter of the second last name. Then I'm using a while loop here, while true. So this while loop will keep on running every time because it will always be true. I am getting from user, I'm getting the first name. What is the user first name? Another input I am taking what is your last name. Then I'm calling this function formatted name. I am providing the arguments here, like first name is first name. Whatever is stored in first name is the first argument. The second argument is last name. Okay, whatever is stored in the last name, whatever user enters it. And of course, this is also returning a result. So I will store the result in a formatted name. This variable, I will store the result. Then I will print hello, and whatever is stored in this formatted name, I will print that. Okay. So let's say if I enter Shivam, my name, last name is Mitra. So it will print hello. See this capital S because I have used the title function. Hello Shivam Mitra. It will print. It will again ask for input again. I can just write Anil. Okay. And Kumar, let's say. Okay. This time, oh, I got it. Okay. Formatted name equal to format name, first name, last name, string object is not callable. Why? So what we are doing wrong? So the error happened on line number 8. Okay. Okay, so I got it what actually happened. But so okay, this is very, I will say, even I didn't think about this, but what I have done mistake, you know what mistake I have done. If you had identified it, it's great. But what I have done wrong is I have defined this variable same as the function name. Do not do this, I mean. Because function name should not be same as this, right? So I need, that's why in this, on the right hand side, I will use get here, okay? So I will just use format name, something, okay? Format. You should not like it should not be something like okay, the variable name is same as the function name. Do not do this mistake. Okay, the Python gets confused here because it will think that format name. Because in format name we have stored a string now. So now the function will think format name is a string, not a function. Okay, so that's why the error here. Let me clear this. Now run this code again. Sorry, clear this again. Okay, let me run this again. Now let me try Shivam, Mitra, Great, Anil, Kumar. See, now it's okay. Anil Kumar got printed. Again, it is asking for more inputs. But if I do not want to give the input, I can press Control and C. And this will basically I am doing a keyboard interrupt. Basically, I am providing. So I am pressing Control and C at the same time. So it will get terminated. The program will get terminated. Basically, when you have an infinite while loop, you can press Control and C at the same time, and that will terminate. The program will terminate. Okay? So this is basically how to use functions with while loop. This is a very good example of understanding. Now, of course, this is only one way of passing this. You can also try to use keyword arguments here and try to pass it and see your output should be same. Now let's go to very interesting thing that is this is very interesting. I mean, so passing a list to a function. Okay, so let's okay. So basically, what we will do is now is sorry, we will pass a list. Let me write the program. Users. I will take the input as names. So what I will do is I will take the names as a list and I will greet each of the user. Okay. For name in names, I will greet all the users. Then hello. And after this is the function definition, but you need to call this function greet users. Okay, I will pass this as a list. Okay, Shivam. Okay, see, let's run this one. So what actually happened? So I have passed the input as a list here. Okay, this is a list. Okay, now this list cost. So in this names basically, what will be stored this time? This list will be stored. Now what we are doing is for naming names. We are looping over the this list names. Okay, in which three names are stored. So of course this loop will run three times. In the first case, in name Shivam will be stored. So it will print hello Shivam. In the second, when the loop runs second time, in that case Anil will be stored in this name. So it will print hello Anil. In the third case, this name in this name, Navneet will be stored and it will print hello Navneet. Okay, and then since the now list does not have any more elements after Navneet, this list basically this for loop will end and control will basically so this will keep on happening, right? So it will print this again, go to the second line, again print it, again go to the second line. At last there is nothing in the list, so the control will go to the greet users after this line, but there is nothing after lines. In line 6 the program will end. Okay, so you can pass list also through this. Now this is very interesting, modifying a list in a function. Let's say if you want to modify a list. So let's say so another way of basically doing this is so it's not that you need to provide the input here itself. You can also do something like this. Uh, Users, or let's say okay, let names equal to this. So it's not that this names and this should be same. It's not. You can write this as users also in books. So let's use names first and see the output. So the same output. You can also change this name. It's not that you should the. It's not that the a name of the parameter and name of the argument should be same. It's not compulsory or anything. This will also work. Okay, same thing. But in this way also you can do, right? You can define the list separately and then pass the list to this function. Okay. So let's say if you what if we modify this list? Okay. What we will do is we will use sort function. So you know what sort does, right? It will sort the whatever values are there in the list in alphabetical order. I have told you in the list video, right? So this when you use this names dot sort. Now of course after this what will happen? In the names will be stored in the alphabetical order. So first Anil will be there. Okay, you can of course print it here and see it. Print names. We will just for debugging purpose. Now let's run this code. So what happened? So if you see when we are using, so you know what happened. We have defined. So first, the execution of this program will start from line 7. We have defined a list, and then we are calling a function greet users, to which we are passing this. Now the control will go to line number 1 because we are calling this function, and in the names this is stored. This data is stored. This list is stored. Now we are doing names dot sort. So basically, this list will get sorted by alphabetical order. Since we are printing names, say you see Anil, Navneet, and then Shivam. Because of alphabetical order, Anil comes first, then Navneet, and at last Shivam. Then what we are doing is for names in names, the same thing at the last, we are printing all the names. Hello Anil, hello Navneet, hello Shivam. Now there is one interesting thing here. What if you print the same list after here? So what do you expect? What will happen? So will the list be Shivam, Anil, Navneet, or the list will be Anil, Navneet, Shivam? Let's run this and understand. Very interesting, right? Very interesting. So what actually happened? What we are seeing here is that we pass the list as Shivam, Anil, and Navneet. In the function definition, we did change the list using this sort function. So of course the list got changed here. Of course it got changed here. That's why if you see hello Anil, Anil got printed here, Navneet, then Shivam. Of course the list got modified here, and you can see the output also here, Anil, Navneet, and Shivam. But one more change happened. What? This users also, this list also got modified. right? This also got modified. If you see, when you are printing users after calling this function, you see Anil, Navneet, and Shivam. These users also got modified. So that, what does this mean? This means that if you are passing a list to a function and you are modifying the list in that function, then your original list will also get modified. This is very, very important to remember, okay? Because sometimes what you will do is you will pass the list, right? You will pass this list here, then you will modify the list in the function, but you will be assuming that your this list has not changed, okay? But this has already changed, so you should remember this, okay? Very important. Now you will ask me that, okay, how can I prevent this? Okay, so what your aim is that, okay, you should print the names in alphabetical order, but this original list should not get modified. Then how to do this? So of course, one way is basically pass a copy of this. If you remember in which video, in list video, I have told you how to make a copy of a list. So this is the way of making a copy of the list. If you do like this and run this program, see, of course, inside the function, the list got modified, but the original list is still the same. Shivam, Anil, Navneet. There's another way also of doing, not modifying this. Use copy function. Okay, there are basically two ways of copying. In this case also, if you see, the original list did not get modified. So there are two ways of passing a copy of the list. So when you are passing a copy, you are not passing the same, I mean, you're passing the content is same, but I mean, I will say you're passing a copy kind of, you're just passing a different copy. So you have two copies now, okay? So when you are not passing the copy, what was happening is you have this one list stored somewhere in the memory. This same list was getting passed, okay? And the function was also doing the change to the same list here. Now, when you are passing copy, what happens? You have two lists, okay? One is the users, names is different here. Both are different copies. So the function is, let's say this one is the, this is the users. This is the users list. Then this is the copy. The second one is the copy called names, okay? Let's say. Now, this function is changing this names. This names is getting changed. But the user's copy is not getting modified. It still remains the same. Basically, you have two copies. On only one copy, the change is being made. On the other copy, the change is not being made. Okay. Of course, there are two ways to pass the copy. One is using a copy function, and one is simply using this slice operator. Okay, that I have already taught you in the list video. Okay. This way, you will prevent the modification of a list. That's why I have told preventing a function from modifying a list. This is the way. Now, modifying a dictionary in a function. This is also very important. Let's do one thing. Let's write a simple dictionary. We will just write very simple dictionary. Okay, very, very simple dictionary. We will write a dictionary called D equal to, very simple. We will store name here. The key is name and the value is Shivam here. Okay. We will pass the dictionary. So you can name it anything. Let's DCT. Okay, it's some other name here. Okay. What we will do is we will modify this. So you can, I told you, you can pass anything to the function. It can be dictionary, list, string, numbers. Similarly, you can return anything from the function. You can return string, you can return list, you can return number, you can return dictionary, anything. I will modify this to Anil. Okay, I will call this function greet users d print d. So let's see what happens in this case. In the case of list, what we saw was when we have passed the list and when we are modifying the list in the function, this list was also getting changed. Does this also happen in the case of dictionary? Let's run this code. Yes, in dictionary also the same thing happens. If you see here in my dictionary, the name is Shivam. Okay, then I pass it here and okay, you can print it also here after changing this. So of course you see what happened. Of course we have modified the dictionary here. Okay, I have changed the whatever is stored in name key to Anil now. The value is Anil. Before it was Shivam. Okay. Now of course the modification, if you see here, of course name Anil gets printed. Okay. Now the control again, the function ends. The control goes to line number 8, and again if you see the output name Anil. So this our original dictionary also got changed. How to prevent this? Again same thing. Use, so in this case you cannot use slice, but you can use copy function. Okay, see now what happened when we are using copy function, a separate copy of a dictionary is getting passed to the function. Okay, that the copy that is getting passed is not the original copy, it is a different copy. Okay, Now we are changing the name, it's okay, inside the function name Anil, but the original D, whatever was stored in this has not been modified now. And you can see when you print D, it has not been modified. So that's how you can basically send a copy of this. And typically in most cases, you will see in functions, typically you will want to send a copy. You do not want to, in most cases, modify the, it depends on use case typically, but in most cases you will not want to modify the original list. You just want, maybe you just want to modify it in the function, but not the original list. Use this copy function. Okay. Okay. So now this is done. So you have, I think now, I mean, you should now know the basic syntax like how to write code in Python. From next video onwards, we will write like programs using Python. So whatever we have learned till now, from part 1 to part 10, whatever we have learned, because part 0 was basically installing Python on your system, leave that. That will also be handy actually. So whatever we have learned from part 0 to part 10, okay, this part 10. From now onwards, we will write like many programs, maybe 50 to 20 programs, maybe, okay. And like I will tell you that this is a program, I will tell you the problem statement, okay, and then I will also code for it, and I will also give you assignments, okay. So it will be in this way, so that you get a practice of Python. It's not, see, Python is not about all like understanding the syntax. I have seen like many, I will say many playlists or many tutorials on Python where they do teach the syntax of Python. It's well, it's great. But if you do not show the users the examples, it's of no use because you need to practice it, right? Practice is very important when you are learning programming language. You need to do a lot of practice to make your base strong. Your syntax, you will forget. I mean, how many days you will remember the syntax, right? If you just go over the syntax, in next 10 days, you will forget. But if you practice the syntax, writing programs using that syntax every day, like one program also, and if you do this for, let's say, 30 days, you will not forget the syntax even after 1 year. I'm just telling you, it's correct. Because I will tell you, for me, when I was, so I have like, for me, I'm doing job for 3 years. So I have left college like before 3 years, right? So from in the college, I used to write programs in C++ programming language. But after college, I have not written any like, I have not typically used C++ mostly in my day-to-day work. But even if you ask me today to write a program in C++, I know that I remember the syntax. I can write the program. For some cases, I may need to do the Google search in some cases only. But 90% of the program, I will be able to write from my own memory. I know what is the syntax. Similar thing will happen in Python also. When you practice it for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, right? So it will get stuck in like what is the syntax, how to think it, how to think on writing programs. Everything will get stuck in your mind. And after that, you will write very, very good code. And you will be able to think about the solution to the problem and write the code. That's why after this video, a lot of practice we will do. Okay. So that's all for this video. And if you did like the content of this, do subscribe to my channel. Do press the like button here. Do provide a comment here. And also, if you have any doubts, that also you can ask in the comment. That's all for this video. Thank you.